Text 51. My dear King Yudhishthira, long, long ago in history, a demon known as Maya Danava, who was very expert in technical knowledge, renounced the reputation of Lord Shiva. In that situation, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, saved Lord Shiva. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Lord Shiva is known as Mahadeva, the most exalted demigod. Thus, Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakura says that although Lord Brahma did not know the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shiva could have known them. This historical incident proves that Lord Shiva derives power from Lord Krishna, the Para Brahman. Text 52. Maharaj Yudhishthira said, for what reason did the demon Maya Danava vanquish Lord Shiva's reputation? How did Lord Krishna save Lord Shiva and expand his reputation again? Kindly describe these incidents. Narada Muni said, when the demigods, who are always powerful by the mercy of Lord Krishna, fought with the Asuras were defeated, and therefore they took shelter of Maya Danava, the greatest of the demons. Text 54 and 55. Maya Danava, the great leader of the demons, prepared 3 invisible residences and gave them to the demons. These dwellings resembled airplanes made of gold, silver, and iron, and they contained uncommon paraphernalia. My dear King Yudhishthira, because of these 3 dwellings, the commanders of the demons remained invisible to the demigods. Taking advantage of this opportunity, the demons, remembering their former enmity, began to vanquish the 3 worlds, the upper, middle, and lower planetary systems. Text 56. Thereafter, when the demons had begun to destroy the higher planetary systems, the rulers of those planets went to Lord Shiva, fully surrendered unto him, and said, Dear Lord, we demigods living in the 3 worlds are about to be vanquished. We are your followers. Kindly save us. Text 57. The most powerful and able Lord Shiva reassured them and said, Do not be afraid. He then fixed his arrows to his bow and released them toward the 3 residences occupied by the demons. Text 58. The arrows released by Lord Shiva appeared like fiery beams emanating from the sun globe and covered the 3 residential airplanes, which could then no longer be seen. Text 59. Attacked by Lord Shiva's golden arrows, all the demoniac inhabitants of those 3 dwellings lost their lives and fell down. Then the great mystic Maya Danava dropped the demons into a nectarian well that he had created. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The Asuras are generally extremely powerful because of their mystic yogic powers. However, as Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 6.47, Yoginam api sarve sam mad gatanantaratmana shadavam bhajate yomam sa me yuktitamo mata. Of all yogis, he who always abides in me with great faith, worshipping me in transcendental loving service, is most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. The actual purpose of mystic yoga is to concentrate one's attention fully on the personality of Godhead Krishna and always think of him, Mad Gatanat Mad Gatanan Atmana Mana. To attain such perfection, one must undergo a certain process, hatha yoga, and through the yoga system, the practitioner achieves some uncommon mystic power. The asuras, however, instead of becoming devotees of Krishna, utilize this mystic power for their personal sense gratification. Maya Danava, for example, is mentioned here as Mahayogi, a great mystic, but his business was to help the asuras. Nowadays, we are actually seeing that there are some yogis who cater to the senses of materialists, and there are impostors who advertise themselves as God. Mayadanava was such a person, a god among the demons, and he could perform some wonderful feats, one of which is described here. He made a well filled with nectar and dipped the asuras into that nectarian well. This nectar was known as Mritya Sanja Itari, for it could bring a dead body to life. Mritya Sanjiva Itari is also an Ayurvedic preparation. It is a kind of liquor that invigorates even a person on the verge of death. Text 60. When the dead bodies of the demons came in touch with the nectar, their bodies became invincible to thunderbolts. Endowed with great strength, they got up like lightning penetrating clouds. Seeing Lord Shiva very much aggrieved and disappointed, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, considered how to stop this nuisance created by Mayadanava. Then Lord Brahma became a calf, and Lord Vishnu a cow, and at noon they entered the residences and drank all the nectar in the well. Text 63. Mayadanava said, "What has been destined by the Supreme Lord for oneself, for others, or for both oneself and others, cannot be undone anywhere or by anyone, whether one be a demigod, a demon, a human being, or anyone else." Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The Supreme Lord is one, Krishna, the Vishnu Tattva. Krishna expands himself into Vishnu Tattva, personal expansions, Svamsa, who control everything. Mayadanava said, however I plan, you plan, or both of us plan, the Lord has planned what is to happen. No one's plan will be successful without his, meaning Krishna's, sanction. We may make our own various plans, but unless they are sanctioned by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, they will never be successful. Hundreds and millions of plans are made by all kinds of living entities, but without the without the sanction of the Supreme Lord, they are futile. Text 65 and 66. Narada Muni continued, thereafter, Lord Krishna, by his own personal potency, consisting of religion, knowledge, renunciation, opulence, austerity, education, and activities, equipped Lord Shiva with all the necessary paraphernalia, such as a chariot, a charioteer, a flag, horses, elephants, a bow, a shield, and arrows. When Lord Shiva was fully equipped in this way, he sat down on the chariot with his arrows and bow to fight with the demons. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 12, 13, 16. Vaishnavanam yata sambhu. Lord Shiva is the best of the Vaishnavas. the devotees of Lord Krishna. Indeed, he is one of the Mahajanas, the 12 authorities on Vaishnava philosophy, Swayambur Narada Sambhu, Kumara, Kapilo, Manu, etc. Lord Krishna is always prepared to help all the Mahajanas and devotees in every respect. Konteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranasyati. Although Lord Shiva is very powerful, he lost a battle to the Asuras, and therefore he was morose and disappointed. However, because he is one of the chief devotees of the Lord personally equipped him with all the paraphernalia for war. The devotee, therefore, must serve the Lord sincerely, and Krishna is always in the background to protect him and, if need be, to equip him fully to fight with his enemy. For devotees, there is no scarcity of knowledge or material requisites for spreading the Krishna consciousness movement. Text 67. My dear King Yudhishthira, the most powerful Lord Shiva, joined the arrows to his bow, and at noon he set fire to all 3 residences of the demons and thus destroyed them. Text 68. Seated in their airplanes in the sky, the inhabitants of the higher planetary systems beat many kettle drums. The demigods, saints, pitas, siddhas, and various great personalities showered flowers on the head of Lord Shiva, wishing him all victory, and the apsaras began to chant and dance with great pleasure. We should get some kettle drums. You know what a kettle drum is? No, it's a big round drum. You beat on it, and the whole world starts shaking. We can get them; they're easy to get. We should get 2 kettle drums. Scare all the demons away. Text 69. O King Yudhishthira, this Lord Shiva is known as Tripurari, the annihilator of the 3 dwellings of the demons, because he burnt these dwellings to ashes. Being worshipped by the demigods, headed by Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva returned to his own abode. You can get these kettle drums in India. It's not difficult to get them. Yeah. Text 70. The Lord, Shri Krishna, appeared as a human being, yet he performed many uncommon and wonderful pastimes by his own potency. How can I say more about his activities than what has already been said by great saintly persons? Everyone can be purified by his activities simply by hearing about them from the right source. Purport. Bhagavad Gita and all the Vedic literatures fully explain that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, appears in human society as an ordinary human being, but acts very uncommonly for the well-being of the entire world. One should not be influenced by the illusory energy and think Lord Krishna to be an ordinary human being. Those who really seek the absolute truth come to the understanding that Krishna is everything. Vasudeva Sarvam Iti. Such great souls are very rare. Nonetheless, if one studies the entire Bhagavad Gita as it is, Krishna is very easy to understand. The Krishna consciousness movement is just trying to make Krishna known all over the world as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. If people take this movement seriously, their lives as human beings will be successful. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 7th canto, 10th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam entitled Prahlada, the best among exalted devotees. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Jai Shri Krishna Bhagavan ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Gaura Pramanande, Hare Bo, Hare Bo. Do we keep reading or? Okay, 20 minutes more, all right. Chapter 11, the perfect society for social classes. This chapter describes the general principles by following which a human being, and specifically one who is interested in advancing in spiritual life, can become perfect. By hearing about the characteristics of Prahlada Maharaja, Maharaja Yudhisthira became extremely pleased. Now he inquired from Narada Muni about the actual religion of a human being and about special characteristics of Varnasrama Dharma, which marks the highest status of human civilization. When Maharaj Yudhisthira asked Narada Muni about these matters, Narada Muni stopped giving his own statements and quoted statements by Lord Narayana, for he is the supreme authority for giving religious codes. Dharman tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. Every human being is expected to acquire 30 qualities, such as truthfulness, mercy, and austerity. The process of following the principles of religion is known as Sanatana Dharma, the eternal religious system. The Varnasrama system delineates the divisions of Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Sudras. It also sets forth the system of samskaras. The Garbhodana samskara, the ceremony for begetting a child, must be observed by the higher section of people, namely the Dvijas. One who follows the Garbhodana samskara system is actually twice born, but those who do not, who deviate from the principles of Varnasrama Dharma, are called Dvija Bandhus. The principal occupations for a Brahmana are worshiping the deity, teaching others how to worship the deity, studying the Vedic literatures, teaching the Vedic literatures, accepting charity from others, and again, giving charity to others. A Brahmana should make his livelihood from these 6 occupational duties. The duty of a Kshatriya is to give protection to the citizens and levy taxes upon them, but he is forbidden to tax the Brahmanas. Oh, that's good. That's good. The members of the Krishna consciousness movement should therefore be exempt from government taxation. We should send this to the tax collectors. Kshatriyas may tax everyone but the Brahmanas. Vaishyas should cultivate the land, produce food grains, and protect cows, whereas the Sudras, who by quality never become Brahmanas, Kshatriyas or Vaishyas, should serve the 3 higher classes and be satisfied. Other means of livelihood are also prescribed for the Brahmanas, and these are 4: Salina, Yaya, Vara, Sila, and Unchana. Each of these occupational duties is successfully better. One who is in a lower grade of social life cannot accept the profession of a higher class unless necessary. In times of emergency, all the classes but the Kshatriyas may accept professional duties of others. The means of livelihood known as Rita, Silochana, Amrita, Ayachita, Mritya, Yachana, Pramrita, Karsana, and Sadyantra Vanijya may be accepted by everyone but Kshatriyas. For the Brahmana or a Kshatriya engaging in the service of the Vaishyas or Sudras is considered the profession of dogs. Whoa. Narada Muni also described that the system of a Brahmana is controlled senses. The symptoms of a Kshatriya are power and fame. The symptom of a Vaishya is is service to the three higher classes. The qualification for a woman is to be a very faithful and chaste wife. In this way, Narada Muni described the characteristics of higher and lower grades of people and recommended that one follow the principles of his caste or his hereditary occupation. One cannot suddenly give up a profession to which he is accustomed, and therefore it is recommended that one gradually be awakened. The symptoms of Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Sudras are very important, and therefore one should be designated only by these symptoms and not by birth. Designation by birth is strictly forbidden by Narada Muni and all great personalities. Yeah, we can't accept people who say, well, I was born a Brahmana, even though I smoke, I drink, I have illicit sex, I'm still a Brahmana. No, that doesn't work. Text number 1. Sukadeva Goswami continued. After hearing about the activities and character of Prahlad Maharaj, which are adored and discussed among great personalities like Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, Yudhishthira Maharaj, the most respectful king among exalted personalities, again inquired from the great saint Narada Muni in a mood of great pleasure. Text 2. Yeah, you see, you talk about transcendental subjects, you become ecstatic. Maharaj Yudhishthira said, my dear Lord, I wish to hear from you about the principles of religion by which one can attain the ultimate goal of life, devotional service. And notice it doesn't say going back to Godhead. He says the ultimate goal of life is devotional service. I wish to hear about the general occupational duties of human society and the symptoms of social and spiritual advancement known as Varnashrama Dharma. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Sanatana Dharma means devotional service. That's nice. The word Sanatana refers to that which is eternal, which does not change but continues in all circumstances. We have several times explained that the eternal occupational duty of the living being is. Indeed, it has been explained by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Jivera Swarupahaya Krishnera Nityadasa. The real occupational duty of the living entity is to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even if one prefers to deviate from this principle, he remains a servant because that is his eternal position. But one serves Maya, the illusory material energy. In other words, see, what it's saying is we are all meant to be servants, to serve. So even if we quit Krishna consciousness, we'll end up serving somebody's wife or serving in the army or serving as dacoits or whatever. But you can't give up serving. That's the point. The idea is, however, that we should not do any negative type of serving. It should always be positive, meant to glorify the Lord and remain in the system of always in the association of devotees. The Krishna consciousness movement, therefore, is an attempt to guide human society to serving the personality of Godhead instead of serving the material world with no real profit. Our actual experience is that every man, animal, bird, and beast, indeed, every living entity, is engaged in rendering service. Yeah, that's true. Even though one's body or one's superficial religion may change, every living entity is always engaged in the service of someone. Okay, that's also true. Therefore, the mentality of service is called the eternal occupational duty. Very nice. This eternal occupational duty can be organized through the institution of Varnasrama, in which there are four Varnas: Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Sudras, and four ashramas: Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasa. Thus, Yudhisthira Maharaja inquired from Narada Muni about the principles of Sanatana Dharma for the benefit of human society. Haribol. Very nice. Text number 3. O best of the Brahmanas, you are directly the son of Prajapati, Lord Brahma. Because of your austerities, mystic yoga, and trance, you are considered the best of all of Lord Brahma's sons. Now, Brahma had Brahminical sons that were very spiritually inclined, but he also gave birth to demons. Even the demons, they tried to have sex with Brahma. See how dangerous demons are. O best of the Brahmanas, you are directly the son of Prajapati, Lord Brahma. Because of your austerities, mystic yoga, and trance, you are considered the best of all of Lord Brahma's sons. See, the Brahma had sons that were, very highly educated and very highly situated as devotees, but he also had sons who were demons. Text number 4. No one is superior to you in peaceful life and mercy. No one knows better than you how to execute devotional service or how to become the best of the Brahmanas. Therefore, you know all the principles of confidential religious life, and no one knows them better than you. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Yudhisthira Maharaj knew that Narada Muni is the supreme spiritual master of human society who can teach the path of spiritual liberation, leading to the understanding of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Actually, it is for this purpose that Narada Muni compiled his Bhakti Sutra and gave directions in the Narada Pancharatra. To learn about religious principles and the perfection of life, one must take instructions from the disciplic succession of Narada Muni. Our Krishna consciousness movement is directly in the line of the Brahma Sampradaya. Narada Muni received instructions from Lord Brahma and in turn transmitted the instructions to Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva instructed his son, Sukadeva Goswami, who spoke Srimad Bhagavatam. The Krishna consciousness movement is based on Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. Because Srimad Bhagavatam was spoken by Sukadeva Goswami and Bhagavad Gita was spoken by Krishna, there is no difference between them. If we strictly follow the principle of disciplic succession, we are certainly on the right path of spiritual liberation or eternal engagement in devotional service. So that eliminates reading all kinds of different books. We don't need to read any other books except Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. That'll give us all knowledge. Somebody said, no, I've read this book and that book, and it's unnecessary. Text 5. Sri Narada Muni said, after first offering my obeisances unto Lord Krishna, the protector of the religious principles of all living entities, let me explain the principles of the eternal religious system of which I have heard from the mouth of Narayana. Wow, that's amazing. Purport. The word Aja refers to Krishna, who explains in Bhagavad Gita 4.6, Ajopi san avyayatma, I am ever existing, and thus I never take birth. In other words, I'm eternal. There is no change in my existence. Text number 6. Lord Narayana, along with his partial manifestation, Nara, appeared in this world through the daughter of Daksha Maharaja, known as Murti. He was begotten by Dharma Maharaja for the benefit of all living entities. Even now, he is still engaged in executing great austerities near the place known as Badarikashrama. Text number 7. The Supreme Being, the personality of Godhead, is the essence of all Vedic knowledge, the root of all religious principles, and the memory of great authorities. O King Yudhisthira, this principle of religion is to be understood as evidence. On the basis of this religious principle, everything is satisfied, including one's mind, soul, and even one's body. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. As stated by Yamaraja, Dharmam tu Sakshat Bhagavat Pranitam. Yamaraja, the representative of the Lord, who takes care of the living beings after their death, gives his verdict as to how and when the living being will change his body. He is the authority, and he says that the religious principles consist of the codes and laws given by God. No one can manufacture religion, and therefore manufactured religious systems are rejected by the followers of the Vedic principles. In Bhagavad Gita 15:15, it is said, Vedaischa sarvir aham eva vedya. Vedic knowledge means to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Therefore, whether one speaks of the Vedas, scriptures, religion, or principles of everyone's occupational duty, all of them must aim at understanding Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.6 therefore concludes, Savai pum samparo dharmo yato bhaktira hoksaje ahaitukiya patihata yayatma suprasiditi. In other words, religious principles aim at learning how to render transcendental loving service to the Lord. That service must be unmotivated and unchecked by material conditions. Then human society will be happy in all respects. Now, that's a very profound statement. Let me read it again. It's very important. Savai pum saparo dharmo yato bhaktira hoksaje ahaitukiya patihata yayatma suprasiditi. In other words, religious principles aim at learning how to render transcendental loving service to the Lord. That service must be unmotivated and unchecked by material conditions. Then human society will be happy in all respects. So it must be unmotivated and unchecked by material conditions. In other words, we should have no demands. Oh, Krishna, I'll chant 16 rounds, but you have to help me marry this lady, or you have to give me riches, or you have to do this, or you have to do that. There's no you have to do's. You have to completely surrender to the mercy of the Lord. Are we? All right, we'll finish this. In other words, religious principles aim at learning how to render transcendental loving service to the Lord. That service must be unmotivated and unchecked by material conditions. Then the human society will be happy in all respects. The Smriti or the scriptures following the principles of Vedic knowledge are considered the evidence of Vedic principles. There are 20 different types of scripture for following religious principles, and among them, the scriptures of Manu and Yajnavalkya are considered to be all-pervading authorities. In the Yajnavalkya Smriti, it is said, Shruti Smriti Sadachara Swasya Cha Priyam Atmana Samyak Sankalpaja Kamo Dharma Mulam Idam Smritam. One should learn human behavior from Shruti, the Vedas, and from Smriti, the scriptures, following the Vedic principles. Srila Rupa Goswami, in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, says, Shruti Smriti Purana Di Pancharatra Vidin Vina Aikantaki Harer Bhaktir Utpatayaiva Kalpate. The purport is that to become a devotee, one must follow the principles laid down in Shruti and Smriti. One must follow the codes of the Puranas and the Pancharatriki Vidi. One cannot be a pure devotee without following the Shruti and the Smriti. So Shruti means what you are hearing from bona fide devotees, and Smriti means engaging in devotional service. And the Shruti and Smriti, without devotional service, cannot lead one to the perfection of life. Therefore, from all evidence, the conclusion is that without bhakti, devotional service, there's no question of religious principles. God is the central figure in the performance of religious principles. Almost everything going on in this world is religion is devoid of any idea of devotional service. Oh boy, this means that the world is cursed and is therefore condemned. See, that means cursed by the verdict of Srimad Bhagavatam. Without devotional service, so-called religious principles are only cheating. And there's a lot of cheaters today. We'll stop right there. Are there any questions that you might have about what we read? Yeah. One must follow the codes of the Puranas and the Pancharatriki Vidi. One cannot be a pure devotee without following the Shruti and Smriti. And the Shruti and Smriti, without devotional service, cannot lead one to the perfection of life. So basically, we should be engaged always in devotional service under the tutelage of bona fide devotees, not under the tutelage of nonsense people. Yes. You have a question, Prabhu? Or you just... Yeah, okay, very good. But it went up so high, it looked like you had a question. Okay, that's all right. All right, well, I guess we'll stop right there. You have a question, okay. You got to be careful about that statement. We're not really. Oh, how did those types of sounds happen? Oh my God! Sounds like some demon comes in here. Yeah. We have to be a little bit careful. See, Krishna consciousness is transcendental, right? Following the rules and regulations is leading to be transcendental, but the position of a devotee is transcendental, and the devotee is supposed to understand the necessity to always be humble and meek and engaged in devotional service, right? He doesn't have to be a pundit. He doesn't have to be this or that. He simply has to be a humble servant of Krishna and always be, let's say, gentle and ready to help other devotees make spiritual progress, and even non-devotees to preach to them and to make them into devotees. That's the life of a devotee, right? He's not interested in becoming a millionaire. He's not interested in having nice cars or houses or things like that. He's interested in making Krishna consciousness more and more known by the people in this world so that they have a chance to chant the holy names of the Lord, especially Hare Krishna, and become purified of sex, meat eating, gambling, intoxication, and completely engaged in seva. Seva will save us. Seva will save us. Haribol. That's our takeaway for today. Seva will save us. Haribol. All glories to Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Yeah, Maharaj has been.
I already said,
Yeah.
Seva will save us.
That's a big statement.
At the entrance of the temple.
Yeah.
And interestingly, all of them have same exact number of letters.
Yeah.
Same letters also. A and E change the order. Seva, save.
Save us.
S-A-V-E and
E is
S-E-V-A.
different. Last letter.
That's my, what do you say, it's my culture.
Mantra.
Mantra, it's my Seva will save us. Haribol.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. One question.
Yeah.
So, recently one visitor came for Mangalarti multiple times.
Yeah.
The opinion the person developed is they felt more ritualistic, and they felt
His opinion was?
our worship in the morning, Mangalarti, they felt more ritualistic.
Yeah.
They are interested more in the meditation. So, how should we guide them?
Well, everything we do is meditation. He's talking about, silent meditation.
Yeah, like that. Yeah.
But that's not the real meditation. The real meditation is what we're doing. We're focusing our mind on Krishna all the time and engaging in devotional service. That's meditation. It's not that you're sitting in a let's say, a closed room and there's no one else there and you're silently meditating. That's not meditation. Meditation is always thinking about Krishna and how to engage in Krishna's service. That is meditation.
And maybe that
Plus-
person hasn't seen that first time coming. Or?
Yeah, first time, 2 times he came and then developed the opinion and stopped coming.
What was his opinion?
Felt it's ritualistic.
Ritualistic.
And I suggested, because we conduct some japa sessions sometimes when Amrendra Prabhu comes, we do japa sessions in the morning, 4:30 a.m.
Yeah.
So I thought of welcoming to those events where we only focus on chanting.
Yeah. So he thought that was what? There was something that is not necessary or not?
Yeah, some opinion. They have some conditioning from the past. They don't want to go into the ritualistic path.
Okay. Well, look. There's different types of people in
Yes.
this world.
Yeah.
But it's better, when a new person comes for the first time, you should sit down with that person. Even though the program is going on, you should sit down with that it's all
think the
about.
main thing is teaching them or showing them why we do what we do. Because when they don't know the purpose behind what we do, it
It's
looks
a shock. They're
ritualistic.
shocked by what we're doing. So you should sit down. Every time you see a new person come in, you should begin to talk to them, sit down with them, and explain, nicely, what Krishna consciousness is all about. Not to just let them sit down and see us going through everything we're doing, because it's too much for them. They get confused.
That's what we were saying. Even he was confused with things first time when he came.
I'm still confused.
Maharaj, one question.
Yeah.
This is on, see, based on, today I will take 1 minute.
Yeah.
Maharaj,
Only 1 minute? If you go past that 1 minute, is there any
to
consequence?
answer question 1 minute, Maharaj. I don't know. Maharaj, see, based on today's lecture,
Yeah.
see, we are all, I'm especially, I'm working, right? Now I am Shudra, right? But where when we are in
Who
Shudra,
said you're a Sudra?
because we are all, I'm working, majority of the time we are spending on corporate world. And
No,
in
but
corporate world,
If you're working and the money that you make is going to Krishna, well, of course, not all of it can go to Krishna, but actually, as a devotee, everything you do is meant to please Krishna, right?
yeah, my question is, in day-to-day life, they expect you to do so much work, but that work is nowhere related to spiritual. Everything is material. Maharaj.
No, there's two ways of serving Krishna. One is just sitting in the temple and chanting Hare Krishna all day long. And the other is working, making money, but using your money in the service of Krishna. So both of those are Krishna conscious.
But when we are working, Maharaj, the instructions are always more on materialistic. We cannot talk much. There is no dharma and all concept there.
But if you use the money that you make in the service of Krishna,
That's it.
then everything is purified. Okay? So no more going on holidays.
Don't plan your next vacation.
Be engaged
That's
always
what whole
in
year I'm
Krishna's
here.
service.
Very,
Okay.
Haribo.
Seva will save us. Seva will save us. Even if you go on a vacation, it should be Seva.
save.
Haribo. I should, it's sort of like,